All right, so you've probably seen the chatter online, maybe waded through some articles, and this one big question keeps coming up. Can Stellar, XLM, actually hit $1 by 2026?
Hmm.
We've got this report here, pulled together a ton of stuff, past price action, expert predictions, even what folks are saying on forums.
Yeah.
And our mission today, really, is to cut through the noise.
Hmm.
Let's find the key takeaways about whether that $1 mark is truly possible.
Exactly. And we've looked at, well, a lot of different views. You've got your analysts, sure, but also just regular users online.
Right, the community buzz?
Yeah, and sometimes those insights are just as valuable. You know, what you find is, well, a lot of optimism, but also quite a bit of caution, which honestly is pretty typical for crypto predictions.
Definitely. So let's try and give you a clearer picture without getting bogged down in too much jargon.
Sounds good.
Okay, first things first, history. What can XLM's past price roller coaster tell us about hitting $1 in the next, what, couple of years?
Well, the history definitely screams volatility. That's the first thing you notice. Since it launched way back in 2014, it's had some pretty wild swings.
Mm-hmm.
The really interesting bit is that peak back in January 2018. Now, the exact number kind of depends where you look. You see figures like Merity 87s, maybe 93 cents, 29.38 cents. Some just said nearly $1.
So close.
Yeah, tantalizingly close to that dollar target we're talking about.
Okay, so here's the kicker then. To actually get to $1 by 2026, it needs to not just match that old high, but push past it.
Precisely. And you have to remember the context of that 2018 peak. That was during that massive crypto bull run, right? Everything was flying.
Sure.
If you look before that, say pre-2017, XLM's price was pretty quiet, maybe linked to things like the Mt. Gox collapse dampening the whole market early on.
Right, that whole era.
And then, of course, after the big climb came the big drop, the classic crypto cycle.
The boom and bust, yeah, we know that story. But you mentioned it has bounced back before,
Yeah.
recovered from dips.
It has, yeah. And that does suggest some, resilience, a potential for future growth. Past rallies show that with the right market conditions, the right catalysts, XLM can make big moves.
Caveat time.
Big caveat time. Past performance is never, ever a guarantee of future results. Especially not in crypto, the market's always changing.
Okay, got it. History shows volatility, a high near $1, but no guarantees. So let's shift to the future. What are the experts predicting for 2026 specifically?
This is where it gets really divergent. The range of opinions is huge. It's actually quite striking.
Okay, let's hear the optimistic side first.
Sure.
Who thinks $1 or more is doable?
All right, so Investing Haven, they put a range out there, 71 cents up to maybe $1.44. The News Crypto via Change Hero had this incredibly wide range from like 8 cents all the way up to $2.20.
Wow, 8 cents to over $2. It's broad.
Very broad. CoinDCX was bullish too, seeing it maybe settling between $1.06 and $2.20. And then you see posts on Binance mentioning potential highs near $3 or another range of $0.96 to $1.76.
So definitely some strong believers out there. Any others on the high end?
Yeah, 99 Bitcoins thought it could hit $1.30. FlipPay was incredibly optimistic, minimum $1.70, average $3.10, $4.
Okay.
Coinstats.app also had a bullish $2.80 prediction, and Coinpedia, through Coinstats, gave a range, low $1.86, average $1.31, high $1.76.
Okay, so a clear group seeing significant upside, well past that dollar mark in many cases. But I'm guessing there's a flip side. What about the more cautious takes?
Oh, absolutely. A lot more conservative views, too. Changely, looking at March 2025, had an average around 0 and 40 cents, max 71 cents. They had other forecasts kind of hovering in that same ballpark.
Below $1.
Yeah. CoinCodex around the same time was much lower in $12 to $12.22. Long forecast saw maybe $0.44 and $0.80. Light Finance was thinking around $23 to $0.33.
Still quite a spread, even among the cautious ones.
Definitely. Cryptopolitan via Change Hero put it at $3.28 to 33 cents. Though, interestingly, their prediction cited on Binance was higher, more like $66 to $0.84. So even the same source can vary.
Huh.
It is. Then you have MEXC with a very specific 7.2688 cents. Kraken was thinking $0.25 or 30 cents. Trading Beast's Wallet Investor, also around that $0.23 to 25 cents.
Okay. Any really bearish ones?
Well, BitPapa had a range. Minimum $0.28, max store 40 cents. CCN was quite low, 0.128 to 0.192. One Binance post had an average under 15 cents, maybe a bearish view of billion dollars 40 cents.
Wow.
Even some sources with high maximums had more grounded averages, like 99 Bitcoins averaged 95, just under our target. One Safe.io averaged 65 cents.
So the takeaway from the experts is massive disagreement.
Pretty much. Fundamental uncertainty. There's just no consensus view on where XLM is heading by 2026.
Do they give reasons for these wildly different views? Like, why are some so high and others so low?
Yeah, generally. The optimistic forecasts often lean heavily on adoption. Stellar actually being used more for cross-border payments, which is its main thing.
Right, real-world use.
Exactly. And some are banking on another big crypto bull run, lifting all boats, XLM included.
Makes sense. And the cautious ones?
They often point to that big circulating supply of XLM tokens.
Yeah.
Just a lot of coins out there. To get to $1 means the total market value has to get really, really high.
Needs a lot of money flowing in.
A lot of money. Plus, some might look at times when XLM hasn't really kept pace with Bitcoin or the wider market during rallies. So it's often that tension when future potential versus current market structure and history.
Okay, that helps frame the debate. So let's dig into those potential drivers. What specifically could push XLM towards that $1 mark? What are the catalysts we should be watching?
Right. So number one is definitely that core use case, cross-border payments. If businesses, individuals start using Stellar more for sending money quickly and cheaply across borders, demand for XLM goes up. That's fundamental.
And the partnerships. I saw names like Visa, MasterCard mentioned.
Yeah, those are huge. Partnerships with big financial players like Visa, MasterCard, MoneyGram, IBM, that adds massive credibility. It builds the rails, for wider adoption, makes it easier for people and businesses to actually use Stellar.
And what about deeper institutional involvement? Franklin Templeton was mentioned.
That's another potentially huge factor. If institutions like Franklin Templeton start using the Stellar network for financial products, maybe tokenizing assets or something, that could bring in serious capital and legitimacy. Big catalyst potential there.
Okay. Anything else on the plus side? Tech improvements? Market mood?
Both, yeah. Any tech upgrades on the Stellar network itself that make it faster, more capable, that helps. And broader crypto market innovation can lift things too. And definitely, overall market sentiment is crucial. If we get another big bull cycle...
The rising tide lifts all ships.
Exactly. That could definitely help XLM. Plus, think about DeFi, decentralized finance, and stablecoins. Stellar has potential there, too. If it becomes key infrastructure for stablecoins or certain DeFi apps, that adds value.
And institutional money generally. Regulatory clarity.
Yes, absolutely. More big investors coming in, more clarity from regulators on how crypto is treated. Those create a better environment for prices to go up. They reduce uncertainty.
Makes sense. Lots of potential positives, but there's always a but. What could stop XLM hitting $1? What are the headwinds?
Well, the biggest but is always just the general crypto market volatility. Things can crash unexpectedly, regardless of how good a project seems. That's just the nature of the beast.
Always a risk.
Always. Then, specifically for XLM, it might hit resistance near those old highs, around the $1.90 mark. Psychological barriers can be tough to break.
In competition?
Fierce competition. So many other blockchain projects are trying to do similar things, especially in payments and DeFi. Stellar isn't operating in a vacuum. That can limit its growth.
The report also mentioned something about the Stellar Development Foundation, the SDF. Some concerns there.
Yeah, there's been talk, sometimes criticism, about how the SDF manages its large XLM holdings, allegations, or maybe just perceptions that they dump tokens on the market. That can create selling pressure, keep the price down by increasing supply.
Right, the supply issue again.
And just general market sentiment turning sour, or investors losing confidence. That drags everything down. Plus, that high circulating supply we mentioned, it just mathematically makes reaching $1 harder, requiring a huge market cap.
And its history of sometimes lagging.
Yeah, that tendency for XLM to sometimes underperform the broader market during rallies.
Yep.
If that pattern continues, it's another hurdle. And, any actual problems with the tech, security breaches, operational issues, that would obviously be very bad for confidence. Less discussed, but always a background risk.
Okay, so a real tug-of-war between potential drivers and potential drags. Now, what about the regular folks? The report looked at Reddit, Quora.
What's the vibe in the community?
It's pretty much a mirror of the expert division, honestly. Mixed bag. On Reddit, you definitely find optimists, people excited about the tech, the partnerships, the adoption potential.
Some predicting $1 sooner, even.
Yeah, I saw mentions of maybe $1 by summer 2025 or even higher. Real enthusiasm there. But you also see a lot of skepticism. People worried about the market cap needed for $1, pointing to that huge supply again. Concerns about the SDF actions, too. comparisons to other coins.
Exactly. Those topics come up a lot. Debates about whether the foundation's actions help or hurt the price, comparisons showing XLM lagging behind other cryptos. It's all there.
And Quora, similar story.
Pretty similar. Lots of direct questions like, will XLM hit $1? The answers often just point back to the analyst predictions we talked about. Some users there seem to think $1 is likely, if the bull market continues. Maybe not pinning it exactly to 2026, but seeing the potential if things go well market-wide.
So user sentiment basically reflects the overall uncertainty. Hope mixed with realism.
Yeah, that sums it up well. Anticipation, but also awareness of the challenges.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this all up. We've looked at the history, the vastly different expert views, the potential upsides like adoption and partnerships, the downsides like supply and competition, and even the community buzz. After this whole deep dive, what's the final assessment on XLM hitting $1 by 2026? What should you, the listener, take away?
The main takeaway really has to be the high degree of uncertainty. Can it happen? Yes, there are plausible pathways, strong adoption, key partnerships firing, tech improvements, a roaring bull market. It's possible.
But likely.
Based on the bulk of the expert forecasts we analyzed, and considering the hurdles, it seems more likely that XLM will remain below $1 by 2026. The historical volatility shows it can make big jumps, but also fall hard. The supply issue is real, competition is real.
It's an ambitious target.
Very ambitious. Possible, but ambitious seems like the right word based on the current consensus and data. Not a slam dunk by any means.
So definitely not a simple yes or no.
Not at all. Plenty of reasons for long-term optimism, perhaps, but $1 by 2026 stopsers looks like a stretch goal right now.
Okay, so for you listening right now, as you keep an eye on Stellar, on the whole crypto space, what are you going to be watching most closely over the next year or so? Is it going to be those big partnership announcements, maybe breakthroughs on the tech side, or just the general feel, the sentiment in the market? What signals will tell you most about XLM's real potential? Keep digging, keep asking questions. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.